Hi. I hope everybody's having a good day. I'm having a great day. I'm getting lots done, and that's always a good feeling, you know? It's one thing that we're doing whatever we're doing with our time. It's another thing if we're using that time wisely, or we feel that whatever we've been doing with that time has some sort of productive aspect to it, I guess. So, here we go. Now then, I hope that people have been having a good week. It's Thursday now. Tomorrow's Good Friday. So I won't be streaming tomorrow, but I will put up a video. Okay, so let's I'll show you what I'm doing in a second, but let's get crack-a-lackin' here. So this is today's page, and whoops, nope, this isn't. This will be. Well, I'll show you in a second. This is today's page. This is the page that I started yesterday. I drew this in green pencil on a piece of cardstock, and that was that. You know. Hold on, I'll get it out. Show you. It's just give me a sec here. Switching things around. So this is the original drawing, the original art for that, and we did this yesterday during the stream, and I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. I realize it's fairly washed out, but that's because it's a light green pencil. So then there's the finished result from that. We did the coloring digitally and went forward from that. Hi, Alinda. Hi, Alinda. Hi, Tina. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are all well, and anybody else that's in the stream right now. So this is a fun page. This page is actually responsive to somebody had pointed out that is it purposeful that often people will suggest an idea and I will specifically aim at the meaning of that idea, but not the meaning they meant. Is it completely the question was, do I purposefully aim at doing what was asked of me, but then completely not doing it as well? This sort of fits into that. I don't necessarily do that purposefully. It's just that this falls under that purview, I would suggest. The suggestion for today's page was Bohemian Grove, and in the visual elements of the page, it's basically this kid speaking to me saying, I haven't got this right at all. I've taken Bohemian Grove and done it sideways. So it's very, very, very metatextual. Now, the other thing that I've got going on is on the same day, and we're going to switch to the camera again. On the same day, swoop, I drew this while I was sitting down watching television. I'll zoom in. We won't get the whole image in when I zoom, but I'll showcase it through. So this is a page I did, and what this page is on is this is the Superman origin. It's been done so many times. Excuse me. So many times, and in so many different ways. Spaceship crashes. Ma and Pa Kent, the farmers, go, oh boy, what's happening? There's the rocket ship. Oh, we better go check on that baby down there, Ma. See what's happening in there. It's a baby boy, but with how I approached it is a little bit differently. And my approach to it is, and again, we're coloring just digitally, but I thought I'd walk you through a little bit of that process. Now, being slightly different in how I approach it, it's, I'll show you, I'll just show you the text, it's easier. The field's on fire again. Again? Come on! Something crashed into the back acres and they're all ablaze. Looks like another spaceship. I wish these space aliens would stop sending their babies in spaceships at the Earth. It's getting so we can't even bring in a crop of corn. So, it's the Superman origin story, but it isn't. So, I think, if anything, the previous page from today, the Bohemian Grove page, perfectly illustrates that, I possibly do that. I possibly shoot the arrow at the target and then hit the target next to it. But this is fun. So this is also an example of what we were talking about yesterday, and this is what got me onto this, by the way, is yesterday we talked about the difference between a landscape page and then a portrait page. And so the one is vertical based and the other is horizontal based. And so because of that, we can tell equal amounts of story across these different formats. It's just that we have options on how we present that. So the complexity of the color that's on this landscape page, the one that's finished. Linda says a black screen. I have no idea, Linda. I'm sorry. So the see, I get off track every time. The complexity of the color that's on the landscape page is only because this color is finished at this point, whereas the other one here, the portrait one, is just basic flat colors at this point. So what I thought I might do is walk through that coloring process, and we'll take a look. We'll just see what you think of that process. But I'll walk you through and show you what I'm up to now. You can see how I'm changing different levels on the side. Okay, you can see how I'm changing different tools on the side, and down on the bottom you'll see how I can change the color that I'm using on the left hand side. Okay, so all I have it set on is a wide tip brush, so you can see the wide tip brush dancing around on the side of the screen. I can turn that off if that's infuriating for people. Whoops a daisy. There we go. So just making sure that I'm not coloring on my own art. So see, I separate my layers so that this is the coloring layer, and I do it underneath the drawing that I've done, and so that way the images that I've already penciled sit over top of the color, and then I don't have to worry about coloring in the lines, right? It's just a different way of approaching it. Hi Chris, welcome aboard. So by putting that layer underneath, what I've done is I've made this art layer transparent, and then the text sits on top of the art. So if I strip the layers away one at a time, you can see what happens there. Okay, so we're on the color layer. I'm putting in the basic colors for areas, and then I'm going to show you a couple things to have fun with. I'm going to turn off the text for now because it's just in our way. Now the other thing, there's an eyedropper tool that lets me pick up colors that I've already used if I need to use them some more, and that's a great thing to have available, because you'll be halfway through something and you'll get distracted by something else, and you need to come back and finish that off. So if you're able to just pick that color up, that's great. That's great. It really allows you to keep moving forward and to not have to constantly figure out what color was I using there, what color was that, So we're in a good spot in that way. So this tractor, this is basically Space Tractor, and I've taken some liberty with the Ma and Pa Kent storyline here, my Superman story, but it's basically a John Deere. The problem with that is that the grass and that around it being so very green is going to disrupt that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change down the opacity of my brush, right? So it's not as crisp and solid a yellow as it could be. It's sort of half as strong as it could be. And I'm coming through and I'm adding all these sort of gesticulative strokes into the grass. the basic color of everything is the color that is on the tractor now. That was the flat color that I put down for everything in the first place. And everything else is colors that we're adding on top. But I'd been asked about this recently, about the coloring. How do I go about coloring from someone? And I thought, oh, I better just sort of show it, because I don't know how to explain it enough. Chris asks, is this Photoshop? Yes, it is, but this is Photoshop. The program that I use is from 2010. And the reason that I use this older program is because I'm not paying Photoshop a monthly fee. I think that that is a ridiculous thing to expect of people. I realize it's the new way that a lot of these technologies work, but I have this Photoshop program on a number of different places so that I don't lose it should one thing get lost or destroyed. And I have it on an external hard drive, I have it on my regular computer hard drive, I have it on a couple of computer keys. I'm just making sure that I have it, because I do not want to have to try to replace this. Okay, so a couple things I'm going to do is that I've got the opacity down. I'm making my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm coming in here and I'm putting little gesticulative marks up into what's supposed to be a field on fire, and we're just going to get a little bit closer to that as we go. So we're going to put some, it's sort of like a little back and forth swish, curly-Q little shape there that I'm coming in on this with. And then I'll put a couple of little reflections on the area that's directly in line to directly to have a reflection of light upon it from the fire itself and the bright flames. So that's why you see along the edge of the dirt here is that I'm sticking some red in there as well, just because there's everything around it is on fire. Chris says, this is why I quit Photoshop. I used a free clone named GIMP, the same as Photoshop. See, that works. And it's important that, you figure out whatever works for you. But yeah, I don't blame people for not wanting to pay $80 a month for a program. That is crazy fuel. Okay, so we got a little more development in our fire, and then I'm going to come in the same panel with a lighter value and start putting some highlights in our dirt. So I'm going to just lighten that up a little bit more and make it a little more opaque. So now when I come in, oh, there you go. See? Look at all the marks. So yeah, so last night I drew the two different pages, and sitting there for, they come together. I pencil really fast, so this is why I figured, well, I'll just show you the finishing of this, because it's something I don't often do, is the digital application part for folks. They see me do the drawing part, but they don't see how I do the finishes digitally. So I hopefully you find this interesting. Okay, throw in some yellow up into the trees just to give them a little more character, but let's go to a lighter yellow. And I'm just picking values here as we go. I am using the basic palette that Photoshop gives me, because if you have to be more and more elaborate with your colors, sometimes you're overthinking things. So here is our grass. I'm going to use the color picker, pick that blue sky back up. Let's get some of that over here on this side of the tractor. And let's pick our color for our tractor. I want to do I think I got it. So I'm gonna, this is just the first pass. There's the second. There we go. And the reason that I'm doing it this way instead of just putting out a solid block is so that I can get some weathering, give it a little look of weathering on the surface of this tractor. And we'll build that up a little bit more in a second. Silly little things in order to make give us the ability to sell something. There we go. Come back to that. What am I missing? Hi, Amaritza. How you doing? Chris finds this interesting. Oh, great. Okay, so I'm coming in with this darker value in the back here. I might even push that a little bit more. But this is the other wing, I guess you would call it, like we have on the right side. This is the same thing behind him on the left, so that we have a consistent shape for the vehicle. And then I'm going to come in and start coloring in the actual tractor. We'll build that up a little bit more. So doing the colors underneath the pencils, it really saves you a lot of time and not having to, you know, worry about the tiny little spaces and stuff like that. You can just paint sort of similar. Hi, Miriam. You can paint sort of similar to like a watercolor approach where you're, you know, you can just cut down the opacity of your brush so that you can get all kinds of interesting textures in there and just have some fun with it, you know. Like this it's a farm tractor, so it's not perfect. That's why I'm not doing this big flat broad stroke of flat value on here, and I'm building it up this way because I want it to look a little bit worn out and weathered. So there we go, we got that coming through now. This is the front foil of the tractor. So I'll put some of this red in here. And it is a red, it's a really toned out red. Kind of looks a bit like a hot rod, eh? If I'm missing stuff, I'm sorry folks, I'll try to get back to you. Just a second in the comments there. Tomorrow I will be sending a post to the 4 suggestions that came in at the start of the week for the digital drawing. I will be getting all that together to get sent out to folks some point tomorrow. Thank you very much, everybody, for taking part in that. And Monday, I will pop up and we'll do another digital drawing draw. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Vern. Okay, so I've got this flat gray colors for the engine block. We'll play with that in just a moment. Add something to that as well. But there we've got the basic color of our tractor. So now we've got all the basic tones on everything here. And so that gives us a good starting point for a lot of stuff. It's a Hot Wheels tractor, Chris says. Okay, so I'm going to do something fun. But wait, Chris, we're not ready for fun. So I'm making a new layer, okay? I'm on the brush, and I'm going to pick a nice deep blue, okay? Now, in my brushes, I have all kinds of crazy random things that I've just smeared sort of in the same way as, you know, P&M will do a number of different stencils and stuff like that to give you all kinds of interesting textures when you're doing jelly plating. Well, I've got the same kind of thing for photoshopping, and I'll show you. So this is me making taking this pattern of plaid and just flatly placing it over top of my guy. Now, there's all kinds of fiddly bits that you can do for for making this happen so that it warps around the character. We're not overly concerned about that right now. So I've doubled up my value to over 2 layers. So I'm just going to flatten those. That's what I did there. And I come in next with an eraser and I take out the periphery around that area that I want the plaid pattern to show up on. And so now it looks like I've done this really complex plaid pattern. Now, previously in streams, I have shown people how to draw plaid. So it's not that I have any sort of aversion or that I can't do it. It's just, this is fun. It's fun to be able to just put a flat texture down like that. Paula says, "Hi, sweethearts, just showing up for..." Oh, hi, how you doing, Paula? Okay, so we'll do it again. I'm going to add a little texture there, and I'm going to roll our screen up so you can see this. And here is our plaid pattern for down below here on his shirt in this panel. So we have the consistency for our character from one panel to the next for his outfit. And I'm going to do that same thing where I go back and get that erasing tool out and clear out all the excess. Oops, a little too hog wild on that. There we go. Okay. Fit a little bit too much into that one corner. Okay. So I'm going back over the areas where the flat colors that I want, like the flesh tones and stuff, to come back through. But now we've got this cool plaid pattern on his shirt. And we can do the same thing with her. So if I go back to my brush tool and I look through all of these crazy patterns that I have, and I find one of her. So let's take a look at our field of colors, okay? We've got the deep red to go with these greens. We've got, some yellows and browns and greens in this one panel, and it's offset with this dark blue sky. But we're trying to use complementary colors with one another. Now we can go orange on her shirt, or we can have fun and try a purple. So why don't we do that? We only have to do it the one time, but there's the fun pattern. I'm going to lock it in, and I'm going to shrink it down to the size of her body so I don't have so much to erase. And it also tightens up that pattern. And I can double it up to make it darker. So we'll take out all this extra stuff, merge that as one layer, so now we've got this nice dark pattern there. There we go. So I just come in with that eraser again, and now she's got a cool patterned shirt. And using, whoops, I'm on the wrong layer. So using this approach to it has given us this elaborate little bit of business going on in her clothing without taking up a ton of our time. And then using the purple color has allowed us to insert another value in there that runs along with all these values that we have. But what we didn't really have in here was any sort of purple-like values. So there we go. Fingers. She's got fingers. So there's her crossed arms coming through. And there we go. So here's the basic pattern for her. So that sort of takes care of putting down all the basic values on the whole of the page, and then we've already started doing some little fiddly bits with their clothing. But what we can do now is take all of that and say, hey, we're really happy with that being our basic color layer. So that's just one layer now, so I don't have to worry about jumping from layer to layer. And so we can see once we put the text back in where we're at with our overall image. Put the name, straighten the arrow out where the name's going to go. Let's move the text out of the way now, but we can tell how it's going to work and how the eye is going to move around on the page. So we're happy. What do we got? Doesn't the program have the mask function so you don't need to erase? It does, but it takes too long. Wrong layer, yes. Been there most of the time. Yeah, oh, I hear you. Yeah, you can do masks. You can do all of that. I tend to focus less on those sorts of steps and just go with that intuitive. Put it down, take it off. Put it down, take it off. There's great benefits for using mask layers, but I tend to find myself a little too quickly moving, to be honest. Not to say you can't. I'm just saying that it just, I don't know, I tend to find it just slows me down. Okay, so I've got a pink, gone back to my brush, and I'm going to put some texture into my tractor, and we're going to see how this looks. Is it so opaque enough? Actually, I don't think it's dense enough what I chose. So there's a little bit of distress and spattering to age our tractor up a little bit there. And, happy dappy do. And yeah, could do a mask. Ooh, the music. But this works just as well. Whatever works for a person, though. Like if the mask works for you, stick with the mask. I tend to like the organic of removing it physically myself, because it really helps me to remind me about where everything's allocated. Helps me keep track of where I've put all these different elements by having to continuously reassess where these marks are. And I set my eraser setting really high, so I tend to erase like it's a blunt tool, which it is, I guess, but just a slight little tidying up. Okay, so we've got this pattern now in the tractor, so now it's really looking worn out. The music of Nope. You cannot do that. Yeah, it's tricky when you're trying to do stuff and you're trying to figure out what works for you and your processes, and there's so many different ways that we can make marks. It just becomes a case of what works for us. I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, so now I'm coming in and I've picked this yellow, and I'm just beating up some of the exposed areas just a little bit more, just to wear out my tractor a little bit more. You don't really have to do all this. You can just use the basic colors, and there you go, folks. But I'm having fun. I want it to look like it's been used. Now there's these people that do all kinds of elaborate business on their drawings, where they've got these really beautiful textures and developed approaches to, distressed surfaces and stuff like that. I just tend to fly by the seat of my pants like I do everything else. And I think it comes across. I think the idea gets across at least there on some level. So I got the parts where there's most scratching is the part that would be exposed, like the fronts or the side foils here, where you won't see as much wear and tear up at the top, except for maybe where he's constantly touching to get up and get on his tractor, where he put his hand on that corner piece. So, and then the same around the front. Wear and tear. Okay, so I've got the flat color down for my engine block. So let's pick a deeper gray. And I keep trying slightly deeper grays. And we'll come in and we'll pick out some of our details and give it a little bit of depth to this without losing the drawing part, because the drawing part sits on top of the color. And because my opacity is at half, I can build up how dark I want these areas, which is a lot of fun in the sun. But none of this, honestly, all this fun playing around with the tractor, the story is the gist of it. This is just having fun with the visual imagery. But if you haven't tried working digitally and there's a sort of hesitation on your part to approach it, allow yourself to look at it as just a finishing measure with your drawings. If you can if you got an opportunity to scan your drawings into a computer and have a program like Chris has described. What was it called, Chris? GIMP? Terrible name, but it works. I think it's GIMP. GIMP is what Chris uses, and it's the same as what I'm using. It's just an open market one, so you don't have to pay $80 a month in order to use this program. But it's going to let you do all the things that you see me doing here, so that you can add some digital color to your work. So now I'm just putting in some variation lines through the pant legs, and it's got his one leg up in front of him there, and just enhance some of these shapes that we've drawn in. And we're doing it over top of that pattern, so now that pattern sort of roots itself in a little bit more and doesn't feel so odd that it's just this flat pattern over this form, this body that has far more form than just a flat whatnot. Some textures in there. And I'm going to do the same thing with some of these distress marks in here. Give some shape to the tractor. Now, bearing in mind, a lot of this fiddling around I'm doing, I know that the text is going to cover some of this up. It doesn't matter. Chris says, I think each program allows you to explore and find what works for your style. Some people have used Photoshop for amazing illustrations, but that's just who they are. Yeah, GIMP is a clone of Photoshop and it's free. Hey April, how you doing? So I tend to have the idea here that as when I'm at this stage where I'm finishing the art off for a page, I draw the whole page, I color the whole page, even though I know for a fact, we both know this, the text is going to cover what I'm doing right now. But what if I look at it and go, you know what, I want that text in a slightly different place. Well, now I have to redo the whole, this whole part of the drawing, because I didn't draw that information in the first place. So that limits my ability to choose otherwise. So I find it just easier, draw the entire image, color the image. You're cooking with gasoline. And then that way, less fussing about. Okay. So, I'm pretty pleased with how Farmer Jack is coming in here. Now, I didn't color, you can see down below that I haven't colored his hair or his beard in at all. I haven't chosen to do that. So I took the color off for a second there so I could remind myself specifically where the lines are in her outfit here, just so that I'm not just enhancing the things that I want enhanced and not getting too carried away. And I haven't changed my brush setting at all yet. I'm still using the same size of brush for everything that I've been doing. Just, you know, and again, a lot of people say, switch the brush to you know, the different sizes for different, do it. If it helps you in your process, do it. There's what works for one isn't going to be the same as for another. And if you find that that helps you in your process, then by goodness, stick with it. There's all these people that profess, here's the rules on how you do a thing. That's the rules for them. That's not the rules for you. You've got different rules. You're you. So I'm going to have to just, do we want this to be a metal pipe or do we want this to have some fun to it? So I'm just putting a little bit of texture in there, and our pipe sticking out of the top of our tractor. And I'm going to put her hair and whatnot together in a few minutes on top there. But we're just getting this guy, the tractor, done here. This aesthetic is very similar to the graphic novels I read in my childhood, says Miriam. Oh, that's cool. Well, so this is the portrait approach to the storytelling, and then this is the landscape approach. But I thought, to be fair, I've colored this digitally already, and I thought, to be fair, I'll just take you through that. But I tend to do my coloring very lightly. I tend to do it more similar to like building up a watercolor than it being big opaque digital values and smooth values and things like that. I tend to like working it up. But that tends to be the general way I work. So my brush is always pretty much half opacity, or around there. I think I'm at 30 something right now out of 100 for what it could be, so that works. And I'm not using a black, I'm using a charcoal color, because then it lets a couple little blues and things like that work its way through the color for the people whose eyes are so attuned to such differences. It's not as aggressive as the black is. How you doing, Jim? Welcome aboard, sir. Okay, so let's get into, so what I've done is I've picked out another flesh tone, but one that's a little darker, and I will zoom in on this so you can see up close. So you can see all the pencil for the page, and I've just switched that to like a black line, a black line instead of the green pencil that I used. But it serves its purpose for this. It doesn't have to be this crystal clear thing. We're gonna give it a little more form and function by doing it with color. Jim says, I'm here for the Zoom. If you haven't had a chance yet, folks, go check out the trailer. Jim's got it up for his new film. Now, I've got some exciting things that I'm going to show you in just a sec. I'm just flying through getting this done really quick. I've got some art supply stuff I want to talk about, and I've got some books that we can take a gander at. And I have exciting news. The book is in. I'm just waiting for the proof now for my next book, and that'll be available on Amazon as soon as it's all confirmed. Like I just got to check. Just waiting for that proof to come in so I can take a look at making sure I cross T's and dotted I's. You know what I mean? But I'm very excited about this, and I've shown a couple sneak peeks at pages, and we'll be ready soon. It's going to be about $30. It's 78-page hardcover. Okay, so now we're doing the same contouring in this guy's face with the second value, deeper value. Giving him a little more volume, a little more form. We'll come back in again with I go the alternate way. Like here I am putting a deeper value in, and in a few minutes I'll come in and go in with a lighter value and pull things back out again. Again, I still haven't picked out what color his hair is going to be, so if anybody has a preference, you want him blonde, you want him brunette, want him to have really dark hair, let me know. Now's your time to vote. And if somebody says one color and you're like, oh, I guess it'll be that color. Nope, go ahead, pick and choose. Everybody will vote. We'll have a big, the majority wins. Okay, so we've got him coming together there now. And so this also allows us, by using the color, to add in some more textures and details that we didn't with the pencils. So let's just build up his face a little bit more. Okay. Where are we at? Jim says, April says, congrats. And Jim says, congrats. Pink hair? Says Chris. Maybe not. Dishwater blonde. There we are. Maybe not pink hair. That is fun, though. Okay, so I'm coming in now with her here and giving it some more shape, and I'm following the direction. Like these lines that I set in the drawing are following the form of her skull, the shape of her skull, and how the hair will move around on that. So that was quick and easy. And then I'm going to lighten up my opacity again down to half, and let's come in here. Give me a sec. We're going to switch values up here. We'll do a really light pink and we'll work our way up. So while this looks a little bit hodgepodge, when the camera pulls back out, it doesn't have to be crystal clear precise, because our eyes are going to blend a lot of these colors together anyways. And we'll do the same for him up here. Add something to his cheeks and his forehead here and his brow. A little bit of his chin and his neck peeking through. Down to this one. So this is where you're going to see it a little more clearly, because of course the face is much larger. No wind in the fields. Well, again, we're just working on the gist of it. There's wind in there. That fire tends to be going straight at it, as opposed to billowing across the field, I guess. Doesn't always have to be wind blowing across something in a drawing. So here we go. We got this guy's face coming together. So now putting the darker and then the lighter value in starts to give a little more shape and depth to his expression. He puts the emphasis on his face, his facial expression there. And I'm going to come in one more time with drop that back. There we go. And punch this up, little points, little spots in here. You know, give him dirty blonde hair, I guess. I used to have platinum blonde hair when I was younger, and as I got older, it just sort of turned dirty blonde. But I had Shirley Temple hair when I was little, curly, bright white blonde hair, ridiculous. Sorry if I'm missing stuff in the chat. I'll be back in a second. What do we got? I thought it was a skeleton. It's a crocodile, the dino. What? Alligator. Alligator Chris. There you go. So just one more value in her arm here. This lady's no slouch. She works hard on her farm. She's built up her arms a little bit. And the sort of matter-of-factness of these characters, as yet again another alien spaceship has crashed in their field. Yet again, there goes the corn. It's just kind of fun to me, that idea. Just, you know, you gotta have fun with whatever it is, whatever story you're telling, whatever drawing you're doing. Just go with it. You know, the more that we overthink about the specifics of everything, the longer it's going to take us to just get it done. Get that down a little bit. Okay, so, where was I? Oh, the blonde hair, right. Am I missing stuff? That's a gator. Alright, so we'll put some blonde hair in here. And kick our opacity up there so it's not taking me so many goes at it. So we've got that pencil layer still sitting in there, which adds texture to it, and we'll build that up. Our value in his beard, a little bit of it in his eyebrows. He doesn't look happy. Do the same thing for him up here. Alright, what else we want to do? Let's take the white, kick up the opacity on it, and put in a couple of little pokes here and there, just to give a little more something to him. A little more reflection in that skin. Sitting up there on his tractor, sweating, watching his corn go up in smoke again. And then we can come in as well, the opacity back down, and then give a little bit more shape to his outfit. We still got our pattern in there. And we'll do the same thing up here. Just like we did that little shadow area, now we're going to do little shapes in here to give the lighter areas the... I'll be right back to chat in a second. I'm sorry, I just get right in a zone. I tend to draw really and color really quickly in the studio here just because, you know, I'm a bit of a maniac, maybe. What am I missing? Nope, well, we're all good. Everybody's... Put some, then we'll come in here with this white and a little bit more distressing on the tractor. It's because it's not going to be just two flat colors. We're going to have all kinds of stuff going on in there. And scratches. Scratches! And then we'll come in here and do the same thing in their engine. And then we'll have, I got a couple of cool books I want to show you in a sec. Just thinking about the form of things, you know, and you just want to sort of little peaks of value, raise things up, push things back, so on and so forth. And we'll give a little bit of life to the fire too. I hope this is making sense to folks. This tends to be how I color. I don't overthink things. I just go after it. So it's just running through everything here with white. We're going to cut our opacity down again on that. She's jacked. What am I missing? He's hot, tired, constipated. Now he's got to go wrestle that gator. Not a good day for Tractor John. It's a gator baby, is it? Space gator. Oh, you old space gator over there. Come on there. There we go. All right, so we've got... Let's just do this, and then we'll call it a go. So let's just put in some fun little bits of business into our explosion. I'm just emphasizing the little clouds, the little black billowing bits in our cloud with our explosion of spaceship crashing. And I threw this gray down for the area where the smoke is moving to. Putting that lower area there with the gray as well. There, boom. Bada bing boom. Do we want to put a little color in it? Maybe. I think, speaking gator, I think though that he's in the pinned attraction and wife is nowhere to be seen in the rest of the story. He left the gator to eat her and he turned. See, that's the fun part of, when we come at a story and we suggest an idea and it's exploring the presentation of the idea in this one clearly, because here he is complaining about these aliens sending their spaceships, but they're saving their babies from their dying planets, and they keep landing in my farm field, and I can't bring the corn in. That's just one presentation of an idea. But there's so much more story that can be added to this, and I really love these ideas that you guys are coming up with for this larger narrative of Space Gator, and, But that's the part. That's why I find that so joyful, the idea of sharing this with you and you guys sharing with me your input as well, because Lord knows who's, the different directions that people are going to come up with, and that is fantastic in my mind. I mean, I think that gives so much more energy and so much more possibility of direction, especially, and again, this is why I'm always advocating, if you feel that you want to explore an idea that is, presented here, please do. My goodness, a sacrifice to the gator god. I miss a frog, says Tina. Could be a frog alien, Tina. Okay, so let's pop back out to our original size, and let's flatten down our colors there. So there's our color layer with no white background on it and no line art above it, and there's how it all tunes together. There's our text over top. The fields are on fire again. Come on, something crashed in the back acres. They're all ablaze. Looks like another spaceship. And then he says, I wish these space aliens would stop sending their babies in spaceships at the Earth. It's getting so we can't even bring in a crop of corn. There we go. And there's the stamp. So that's our second page today. I'll post this after the stream. Just saving it for myself so I don't do anything silly and wreck it. So there's the two line art pages that I did. I showed the pencils at the start here, and but this is the two that I drew last night, in addition to ordering the new book. So woohoo! So they're very different. The colors are very different. The story type, they're both just as silly. Yeah, like this is a softer approach to the line art and to the image, whereas this is a little more crisp. It's just trying different things and having fun in that experimentation. So, I hope you enjoyed that. That was fun. This story is similar to Superman origins. Oh yeah, no, it's on purpose. That's my Superman, kids. That's what you're getting. You're getting Mon Pop Kent complaining about all these super babies landing in their farm fields, because there's been so many versions of Superman stories. The blue ballpoint pen book that I showed the other day is ostensibly a Superman story. But there's so many Superman characters, and there's so many different iterations of that narrative. There's a television show based on a comic series called The Boys, and that's an alternate universe Superboy story. And then there's Superman. There's a Superboy from another reality. There's Superman's secret identity. There are so many operating. There's the President Superman, who's basically a universe where Barack Obama is Superman. There's so many different versions of Superman in DC right now. I'll show you something absolutely ridiculous. Right here in Final Crisis, at one point, I'm going to jump the camera over to the over top one, put them off there. This is all these Supermans that he's collecting together, and there's a shot where they're all coming like a big swarm of them. Swarm? Maybe not swarm, maybe like a big army flying in. Just trying to find out where that is. There it is. Look at this. This is all the different versions of Superman that DC Comics has at present. This is all their... This is Crazyville. You know, and I bet you the Smallville Superman's in there. There's the communist Superman from Superman Red Sun. There's Captain Marvel or Shazam. There's Apollo from the Authority. There's just so many. There's Mr. Majestic. There's Obama Superman. It's there's a Superman down here's got an afro. That's fantastic. But anyhow, there's all these different reiterations of the same character, and of course the origin stories would be some variation therein. So, you know, you can find so many different things that you know, tell the same story but just have slight differences to it. Now, this is pencil art of Geof Darrow. Talking about pencil art, I thought I'd pull out a couple of these types of books here to show you. And so Geof Darrow, if you've seen the movie The Matrix, all of those crazy octopusy monsters there, the octopus-like looking monsters, are designed by Geof Darrow. Here is a Godzilla makes other plans and takes Tokyo home. Come on, that's fun. So this is the art, the complex art of Geof Darrow. The amount of detail that he has in here and the amount of understanding he has about forms in space are something else. You know, like all these cars flying through the air. They're a little bit complex in their pencil art because he's got so much information there. But let me see if we can find something a little clearer to see. He's got a book called Samurai Cowboy, where it's a Shaolin guy who goes through the desert and making his way around the Wild West of America. There's his Crypto the Super Dog and a fire hydrant. Right? Let's see what else we got. Here's a bunch of characters with pistols and all them guns. But just the complexity in his art. It's a little graphic, and I'm sorry if that's upsetting for you, but this is a cyborg guy who's luck out, you know. So yeah, again, lots and lots of there's Shaolin Cowboy. But look at how much detail is there. Just something else. You know, there's the inner workings of a robotic turtle, where the person sitting inside piloting it. There's a giant snake. And here's the Shaolin Cowboy fighting them with a sword. Anyhow, this is only pencil. And, you know, or Miriam says, why is it so gray? It's only pencil art. This is just his pencil art. This is his line art. And the reason that I picked this book up is because the sheer mastery. I mean, this is the nightmare fuel. Like, there's so much going on in that page, and there's probably a good 150 people drawn in the streetscape. So, you know, but just crazy. crazy, crazy, beautifully detailed stuff. There's a polar bear, maybe? I think it's a polar bear, maybe a kind of dog in the Wild West there, a giant one. I think it's a polar bear, and it's got a girl from Avatar riding on it. There's an airplane fight, and there's a Rocketeer. So, I mean, that's a wonderful way of approaching line art. Now, there's also taking that line art a step further. This is Drew and Josh Allen Friedman, and so now their work is very, Fred cleans his ear. This is stippling. If you're aware of stippling is where you're dot 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 with the pen. And so the amount, and I'm going to pull in so maybe we can pick up on the detail a little clearer. But, and if not, this is all stippling, all tiny micro dots that makes up all of this complexity of surface. That's one of the Three Stooges there. Tina says, I have to go. Bye, Tina. Thanks for hanging out. And so these are comic stories by the Friedman brothers. And a lot of portraits of living people there. Like there's Bob Eubanks, there's Bob Barker. There's Bill Cullen up top, Jack Nards. It's game show hosts that walk among us. Oops, I'm sorry. I thought I was on the other camera. So here, this is the daily lives of game show hosts. Oh, I love the Bob Eubanks. It's so great. So, yeah, this is the Friedman brothers. Crazy Daddy, his prices were insane. Yeah, so just great work. But this is another absolute technician. Well, two technicians. These are brothers that do these stories, and yet such clarity in their work and such a very specific style. But the amount of detail that they put in here is, in relationship to the Jeff Darrow stuff that I just showed you. Like, there's just this fantastic. I'm not going to show you the cover girls because I don't care about that part. But, look at this guy. Let's see how focused we can get that. See, as I bring it in closer, look at the detail in that face. That is an insane amount of detail in that drawing. So, technicians. Have you seen the work of artists with autism, Stephen Wiltshire? It's astonishing. No, but I'll have to look it up. Oh my gosh. Oh, I know who that is. Yes, I've seen his work. Yes, indeed I have. Yeah, it's he's got a whole different, different operating system going on upstairs. It's quite impressive. This is I'm going to show you here. This is a bunch of creators that I really, really, really enjoy. John Paul Leon, we lost this last year. Unfortunately, he passed away, and but such a fantastic artist. And Tommy Lee Edwards is another phenomenal artist. But I'll show you. So we'll start with John Paul Leon. He has a really heavy line art style of high contrast, and so here's his rough pencil work, but there's his finished pencils. And there's such a distinct style of line in his finished pencils. And this is a guy who appreciates a lot of the same artists that I appreciate growing up, but he's, I believe he himself is Paula says different operating system going on upstairs. Yeah, well, I fit into that classification, so yeah, I'd wear that shirt. But there's a wonderful strength and clarity in the marks that he's making here. But you can see in this drawing, he's given himself these guidelines, lightly penciled in guidelines, for him to have this perspective laid out the way he does for the text. But there's a beautiful it's a sort of elegance in his work. This is a series about set in Russia. This book about Russian super soldiers, but there's a beauty in this that was in this man's pencils. So then when it would transfer over and be inked by people, it has this high contrast line, and depending on who inked him, I don't think it does the level of pencil work justice, because I mean this is rough inks on his versions. Batman is all just shape language in order to be menacing. He just takes the face right out of him. Superman has this clarity, the opposite therein. He has this clarity, as opposed to here. It's he was a phenomenal talent, and I'm sad for his passing. But look at the characterization he gets in these different faces, these different people. And there's simpler line study art from on a subway. Here he is drawing Elvis. This is him working with a rough brush. Just great stuff. There is drawing his own studio. So there's J.P. Leone. Now, I'm not dismissing Trevor Goring. It's a very different style of work. It's very, very rough. I love it, but Paula, we're cracking up about what Paula's saying. Trevor Goring's great work, but I'm going to skip to Tommy Lee Edwards. And the reason that I'm doing that is that, now, Tommy Lee Edwards and J.P. Leone were friends, but they have a similar approach to defining form, but from the completely opposite ways. And what I mean by that is J.P. would look at things in light and shadow first and foremost in his building up of a body. Tommy Lee just cuts together the shapes of the form. There's Luke and Leia swinging across the gantry. There's some Chewbacca for you. So he's done a lot of poster work and a lot of motion picture work. But he's got very strong sensibilities in his artistic style. That's crayon that he's drawing with there. That's a really heavy B pencil, maybe. He's got some smudging, but his value system is wonderful because he allows this rough smudging approach to his artwork, and what a gift that is. But look at his compositional arrangement. It's just like J.P. Leone. It has a great complexity to it, but at the same time, it has a very different emotional part to it. This is work that he did for the Superman Returns. He was on the movie set for that. And then here's some more of his superhero stuff. There's the Captain Jack. That's Apollo. That's Battlestar Galactica. I think that's great. He lives out in he's got a big garage. He works on cars all the time. This artist. And I have a sellers group. I'm going to put temporarily out of order as the name of the group. Oh, that's great. And then here's some of his spaceship stuff that he's got. Just beautiful. And I think I've shown some of his work before. Sean Chen, very good stuff, but more of a traditional approach. And let me see who else we got in here. I mean, they're all incredibly talented. Bernard Chang. Look at this. He does a sketchbook like I do, where it's just everything on top of everything. And then the clarity of his line art for the finished projects is great. I think that might be the last. Yeah. So this is another, just a completely different perspective on drawing styles. Now I've shown Tim Bradstreet before. I've shown, there's so many creators that are doing different things and are doing it with very different approaches that it's sometimes just interesting to just look up names and to explore what it is that these guys are doing. A person who was always, let's see if I can reach it. There we go. A person who has always been sort of one of the early cutting edge guys for incorporating watercolor in, it's a big book, so I can't really fit the whole thing in. Brian Stelfreeze. Now, Stelfreeze, in my understanding, really seemed to be one of the first airbrush guys. And but he has this very subtle approach to tone and builds it up. You know, Miriam says, I have to go now. Thank you so much, Christopher. Hey, thank you so much, Miriam. But here's some examples of some of the page work that he's done. And there's a clarity in his finished work. Like this. Speaking of gators, there you go. Would you like to know about any females? I'll show you a fantastic one. Let me see. Where did I put? Oh, it's only in alphabetical order, Christopher. Okay, Craig. Having my books directly behind me makes it more challenging to just turn around. You know, I saw it yesterday, and I had thought about bringing it out. There's an absolutely fantastic Sara Pichelli book that I have. And another one, hold on, I'll show you this. This is Joelle Jones. We'll show Joelle Jones. She has an incredible 1960 sensibility, which is when this story is set. Tim, you know, I'm seeing ones that are popping up and not the ones that I'm looking for. But we'll take a peek again. Okay, Joelle Jones. This book is about a lady serial killer. So now her comic art is phenomenal. And there's okay, so I've talked before. I just want to find stuff that doesn't have anything creepy on it. Okay, well, here we go. We'll just go through this. So I've talked before about Modigliani's line, right? Modigliani, when he would do portraits of people, he would have a thin into a thick into a thin line as it moves around the form. And Sara Pichelli's line is very similar to that, because if you look at, and I'll zoom in on this random part, if you look at the weight that is around the contour of his arm, and then the soft weight that's around the contour of hers, differentiates a sense of volume between their two forms as this couple is at the beach with their kids. And it just puts emphasis points on different parts of the slope in the forehead, right? The brow of the nose, like right into the nose, and there's a thickening of the line underneath the nose again, a thickening of that line at the chin, a thickening of that line at the neck, and so it applies weight to the drawings, and it gives a really great sense of. Yeah, this is a bad example of her stuff because it's really violent. You can see so much of it here, like the shape language around this car. You know, this is a Seattle's World Fair. You know, so it's a throwback style of art. And here she is. Like, look at the weight, the weight of the lines and the moving of the lines and the contour, the form development of the lines as she's drawing this person moving forward. You get a sense of the raised leg on this side, the leg falling back on this side. You get a sense of the fabric as it moves on the form. You know, there's just a wonderful fluidity to how she draws. There's another artist that is similar and yet has such a distinctive difference. And Sara Pichelli, you would think I'd have, there it is, I've got it. Okay, so Sara Pichelli, another great Marvel contemporary artist right now, in comics. She does a lot for Marvel. Joelle Jones has been drawing Catwoman for a little while. in a Supergirl book as well, because she has a far better understanding of the female form than a lot of fellas might. Fellas can represent the ladies, but they'll do it in a very different intent than ladies themselves. Now, Sara Pichelli, another great artist, but look at the complexity of this illustration. She's moved this character down into the silhouetted form as she's brimming, I guess, with her magic powers, and she's blasting this guy. And this is a lot of the colorist input, all of this little extra in the color value, but it doesn't change the fact that she has this really strong conviction of line. Look at that face. That's an ouchie, huh? Ouchie. That's the one. But here's her work. This is, look at the softness in the line here, the simplicity in the line, and yet the shape language that she does. Let's look at the hair, okay? All of this business right here. It's very similar to like Aubrey Beardsley or somebody of the Art Nouveau movement, because it's got this defined exterior edge but doesn't define any of the interior. Fancy dragon. But this is Sarah's work on different projects. But again, just a wonderful approach. See what I'm talking about? About the arm, the thickening and thinning. That's what bump face, yeah. But I really enjoy her work. I enjoy what she does, and she's been given lots of different projects to work on. This is a scary character. That's a gnarly monster. Good heavens. Let's zoom back out again so you can see some of these larger images. Look at that. Look at the differentiation of form between the soft lines of this character and the thick, heavy lines of that one, in order to imply the structural differences of them. And look, there we go again. That's fantastic. And then she's a longtime artist on the Miles Morales character that's made into the Spider-Verse movies now. But she was an artist on that for quite a while, and just great. She's just captured youth in that character. Gonna try that line definition on my junk journal spreads. Yeah, says just April. Yeah, give it a go. And look up Sara Pichelli. There's how you spell her name. And Joelle Ale Jones. Can't pronounce it. It's got an umlaut. Umlaut means soft and hard vowel. So, yep. If you're looking for strong female artists, just the same as strong male artists, I got a number of those different creators as well. And look at the volume she gives to the Hulk in relationship to the. It's as a child. The Miles Morales character is a child, and yet she does this fantastic differentiation in the form. With the thing with a lot of these superhero books is that the big superhero fights is all well and good, but it's at the end of the day, it's storytelling. This is storytelling, and this is the more important part of the emotional feeling of these characters. Spider-Man shows up as Aunt May and Gwen have lost the house and they're missing Peter, and Spider-Man shows up and they're mad at him. You can see it in their faces. And then when he takes off his mask crying and reveals himself to his aunt that hey, it's and his best friend that hey, it's me. And look at those responses. Bing bang boom. So it's that stuff that really makes a good book. In addition to fantabuloso art. Look at that one. So anyways, this is Sara Pichelli. Really enjoy what she does. And she did some really great X-Men work. Look at those two. You get the sense that this is an older character than this one. you know, you get the sense that this is a far more physical character than this one is. Just in this, not just their costumes, because this one has side fluting, and this one has side fluting, but it's the way that it's put down. You know, so lots of fun stuff to go through and to take a look at. Yeah, there you go. There's a Fantastic Four cast of characters picture by Sara Pichelli. Scrumdiddlyumptious. So, yeah, take a look at some of those artists. They're hunky-dory. So one of the things that I was going to show folks is I keep a whole bunch of these kicking around, and these are color erase pencils, and there's few things that I enjoy drawing with more than these color erase pencils. Then that's what you see, like this dark green page that is the page that I did for today. But they come in such a broad field of colors. These aren't pencil crayons for coloring with. These are drawing pencils. They have a consistency similar to, I guess, an H pencil, and at the same time, because, and there's some regular pencils in here as well, of course, but at the same time, that there's something about the application of the color there that just makes it feel a little more lively as you're drawing, I find. And the beautiful thing about these is that as we're making marks with them, and I'll show you in this, for those of you that haven't seen this yet, this is a layout book, and in a layout book it gives us a basic grid. Maybe I can tune this color down, or the light down a little bit. Is that better? Is that more clear now? No, that's just crazy. I think I was better off before there. Okay, well anyways, this is a layout page, and what a layout page gives us is 4 squares on a page that have spatial markings that divide up. I said squares, I meant rectangles, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's still, let me just switch it up a little bit more. Yeah, I think that one's pretty good. So, these little hashes that I've gone over at the top, bottom, and sides divide this shape up into thirds. So that if you follow this to this, there's this, you know, you've got 2 halves now. You divide it across the center. It's there's 4s. If you use these lines, however, and divide the page in that way, you can divide your page up into thirds, and the opposite, you know, with the vertical axis as well. So it helps you and if you divide a page up like this, it helps you in an understanding of how to find the point of reference, or how to find an easier way in order to guide out your panels, so that, you know, if you're going to do a panel like so that runs up in this top corner, you know that if you want to indent a little bit, that's all well and good, but you know that you can run another panel across this section and to have it feel as though it's got some sort of there we go. So what I'm doing here with these panel shapes is that I'm finding these different interesting ways of interacting shapes for the information that I'm trying to communicate across. So if I've got these different panels that I can easily cut together, because I've got this guideline that serves its purpose for me as exempling the breakdown of a page, you know, it really helps out. So because I'm drawing in this sort of a pencil crayon, I don't know, you don't get too precious about your mistakes. You just sort of go. You just start drawing, and you don't need to worry too much about it. It's nice, it's red, it's pretty, as opposed to being pencil and worrying about a smudging, because it's like a pencil crayon, it doesn't smudge as easy, but it lets you play with ideas. So then when you start exploring your page and you've got somebody who's, you know, walking from here to there, and then we can have them move their way across so that we've got this second foot over here. We've got a sense of spatial movement now, this character that's moved through the space. And even though that we've divided up these panels in the way that we have, we can still have these guys moving through the area and cutting in and out of panel shapes and just exploring and playing and not being too precious about it. Not zoomed in like a turkey. That's far better. What a bozo I am. So by doing it this way, it just lets you play, lets you draw, lets you scribble. And I find that with these color erase pencils, you don't really erase all that much. You kind of let them go. You kind of let them work the way they do. And because there's so many colors, you can come in with those different colors, and especially in your roughs like this. And if you want to do some finished art from these drawings that you've done, you just lay another piece of paper over top. Or in this case, if you're going to work on it digitally, you could scan this, and once you've got it scanned, then you just put another layer over top and do your finished drawing on top of that. But by having it something quick and prepared like this, it allows you to explore far faster on compositions than worrying about big finished drawings. And the more that you play with that, the more that it'll help to develop your graphic sensibilities. So I just wanted to show a couple different things that I use on a regular basis today. And because you don't see me drawing just straight pencil art and then doing digital coloring as much as I do the mixed media, I thought I would show some of the ways that I approach it, and some of the, you know, by drawing an entire composition with just one color, you know, it allows you to feel a little more warmth than if you were to just do this with a pencil. Because it's pencil crayon, it doesn't smudge like it does with a pencil. You know, you can get, depending on your pressure or on your overlapping of lines, you can get a nice sense of depth or a nice sense of volume in things. You know, it allows you to feel free, you know, maybe a little bit more than you do with, you know, materials like pens or markers or things like that. Now, you can be really gestural with markers as well, but, you know, it's all about what you need to find for yourself to feel comfort in how you yourself work. And if you can do that, then I think that a lot of the decision making in your creative process starts to become secondary, because you're just sort of in that zone. You just sort of step right into it by finding a comfortable set of tools for you to use. And, you know, this is just one that works for me. So I've got, let's see, let me think about this. I've got the 2 pages that I showed today, and I've got the suggested page from Monday. We chose 4 different words. I've got them written down, and so I'm doing a page based on those 4 words, and they are train, frog, Miriam, and there was one more. Maritza, what was yours? Train, frog. I can just look back on Monday's stream, but I've got, for whatever reason, Maritza, I didn't write down. If you're still here, please let me know what the word was for you. I apologize. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and do that. The second thing to show you is something that I've revealed a little more of than I have before, and it has something to do with. It's just here. There it is. When I'm sketching, I'll also sketch in pen. And in sketching in pen, just the same as sketching in these colored pencils, you'll see both on the same page. Like that's some of the colored pencil, that's some pen or marker. But sketching this way and just finding shapes and just throwing things with abandon down on paper and not worrying about the preciousness of. So here's a drawing down here in the corner. And so here's this, there's a compositional element. Now, if I was precious and worried about drawing over top of that or drawing around that, it wouldn't serve the purpose that it serves for me. And so how it does that is that it lets me explore these cars and whatever this tip of a gun is, or this tire, you know. Here's a street shot, or a shot of the rooftop of a building. Here's a perspective looking up at some buildings. Here's a crazy airplane, spaceship-y thing. Another car, random plane parts, you know, helicopter. Like, all of this stuff is just exploring shapes and lines and objects. There's ambulance, you know, it's and a skateboard. It's surrounded by all of that, are random characters. And just there's a Biotron toy from the Micronauts from the 1970s. But just playing with these really silly shapes for space aliens and bulbous armed things, and this, just looking at the silhouettes of characters, and just whatever. Let your subconscious do the talking through your hands, and just see where it leads you, and follow that. And don't be too worried about the finished compositions of these things. Sometimes there's some interest in whatever happens in the complexity. Like, I look at this, if I were to scan this, you know, and take out maybe this head and this one, but if I were to scan this and put it into the computer, into Photoshop, and reduce this down to just line art, and then I go in and I do more finished interpretations of these characters over top on another layer, then this could be a page, you know, about movement or something, because they all tend to be moving in this direction in one haphazard way or another. So, you know, that would be a happy accident as opposed to a purposefully designed situation. And it's that sort of exploration that I'm always encouraging as much as I can. And so having sketchbooks around, having mark making tools like these pencils or random colored pens. This is the other tools that I'm using in this type of book. Happy pens. You know, having an available range of colors, it's really interesting in my head, at least, that it allows me to step out of any concerns that I have about what's drawn over top of what, and it just like lets the pages become more complex by doing different colors over top of each other. You know, like here's this studies that are all done in orange here, and then here's some other study I did of somebody getting up to walk along in blue. No relationship to one another. You know, but at the same time occupying space, real estate on the same page. And that's fun. You know, because for me, I can look at this page and pick out this shape here. I'll pop in on that, because it's trying to point at a specific thing, and it's very light, you can't see it. But this here, this form, this figure right here, let's do something with that. And the more that I draw these things, the more that it gives me a better understanding of shape and of form, so that when I sit down to do a page like this, and I make up a tractor on the fly in my head, and make it like a flying tractor, for whatever reason, or I'm drawing trees or whatever it is that I'm working from, because I've been studying and playing, really, in a book like this, it helps me to have a better understanding. So I just thought I'd show a couple of things like that today. I've got, the only other thing I have to show you is, there's my receipt. There, am I on camera? There's my receipt, folks. That's that. The book's on its way. That's exciting news for me. So for those that weren't here yesterday, I'll just give you one last sneak peek, and then you know, this is it. That is the cover of the new book. That's a wraparound cover. So that's the front and the back cover of what I'm got a proof coming to me right now, and so these will be available online soon. And what they are is collections of almost 80 pages of the one-page stuff that I was doing. I've done in the last year, and depending on how well received this is and how many people enjoy those and maybe pick one up for themselves, the second one will be out by September. And so ideally there'll be pages in there from people's suggestions that are still engaging in the stream, and I hope that that's a fun thing for folks. And the second one I'm doing in September, I'm going to put in a whole bunch of recent pages as well, so that there's a greater sense of inclusion. So with that stuff in mind, I got to get back to it. But thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. I know it's been a really random stream as opposed to sitting down with a chosen page and doing that. I will have the page to send to our 4 people for tomorrow, and I will be doing a draw on Monday for somebody out of between 1 and 20, and they get to choose whatever the item is, and I'll do a drawing for them, and then send that to them as well. So yeah, I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun, and if you've got any suggestions, please feel free to put them in the comments for any of the videos or on the social media platforms. Even if it's a couple random words, even if it's a crazy piece of dialogue you heard, or just something that, a personal mantra of yours, whatever it is, I'll try to make a page out of it. I'll try to make a story out of it and look for some story to explore through that vehicle. If there's any of the ones that you've seen me do, or any of the ones that you've heard me espouse out loud to people, feel free, by all means, to do your iteration of those. Do your version of it. It's not going to be the same as whatever I do. It's going to be you. So I look forward to seeing that. Please share. Let me know. I'd love to hear it, that you've been doing it. So, okay, this has been an awful lot of fun, everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Easter, if that fits within your celebration. If it, God bless you. And if it doesn't, I hope you have a wonderful little bit of holiday. And I will be back. I'll be back on Monday to do the draw and talk for a couple minutes, and then we'll be back doing a whole thing on Tuesday again. So, thanks very much, everybody. Artist playing Twista, please. Paula, I will write that down in the book right away. Artists playing Twista. Write it on this note right away so I don't have to look up the book, and I'll get it transferred right away. Artists playing Twista, and that's Paula. Okay, that's in the book. That's a great idea. I appreciate that. So yeah, everybody, feel free to throw those out, those suggestions out at me, and to take on any of the ones that you yourself want to give a try. I always post what the suggestion was for the page that I post each day. It's immediately underneath it in the text. Okay, so you can find, well, what in the world suggestion do you get for that? And that's how it'll be presented in the book as well. Show you a page. Here's one. This is almonds, and underneath the whoops, switch the cameras, Runsman. This is one of the pages in a book, and almonds. Sorry, they're formatted on the side right now. Here's the original art on the right side. There's the actual page itself. Below that is the suggestion, and underneath that is what I was thinking when I did it. So I always post suggestions on the stuff that I'm doing. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. I'm going to sign off. Oh, thank you very much, Paul. That's very sweet of you. All right. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now, everybody. Linda says have a great weekend as well. Bye for now.